We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
You rolling? Hello, Mr. Tig.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. What are we doing here tonight?
We are going to be talking about things that happened in the 90s.
The 90s?
As is tradition.
So this is the Nerd Out With Me 90s cast?
It is, in fact...
Episode 6?
Episode 6.
Wow, so we're in June 1990.
We have been moving quickly through the months.
We have. Week by week, we're climbing through, we're doing the things that we do.
The things that we do.
Yeah, and what are the things that we do? Please explain it to me.
Usually mindless babbling about topics.
That sounds about right.
Of movies, TV, music, shoes, and food.
You are never going to forget the shoes and food
Eventually that's
thing.
going to actually happen, so I figure.
I did so at some point, like maybe episode 120
will be like Nike's pumps came out or something.
We'll do like a bonus episode 121. That will be the shoes and food the shoes and food episode. Probably you've been saying that the whole time, and probably there's a couple of people out there who have like either shoe or food fetishes, and they've been like this whole time they've been like,
finally they're going to talk about shoes and food.
When are they going to do it? When are they going to do it? But I mean, in all seriousness, this series is about us reliving the entire 1990s month by month on a weekly basis. You're either probably taking this out on YouTube, in which case, hi everyone, or on a podcast, which is also awesome. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, then you get extra.
You get blasted with all the nonsense.
Way too much stuff. So anyway, this week...
Movies.
It's a movie-thon this week because, I mean, there's a good reason.
It's because it's June, correct?
June 1990, like June, this is the...
That's when it starts. That's when all the movies come out.
Yeah, it's the start of the summer season. So that means that this week we're talking about Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Oh my god.
Freaking awesome. And we're going to touch on Robocop 2, Total Recall.
Oh, that's a great one.
Dick Tracy. And we might even, and this will shock people, we might even, in our bonus Patreon segment for subscribers, talk about J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter. How would we do that?
Yeah, it seems confusing.
How would we do that in June of 1990?
It's a strange world confuses us.
And who knows, maybe there'll be some Guardians of the Galaxy and some other weird stuff in there that you don't even know about. So come back in a moment and we're going to do some shiat.
Great. Cut.
Get ready for a surprise.
Okay.
All right, we're back. It's funny, we often come back and there's instantly laughter and people are like, what? What are they even laughing about?
Eric's always tickling me.
I don't think that's the case. But I saw this thing that I thought was interesting. We're talking about, right now, the 1990 movie, which came out, obviously, in June of 1990. It was one of the big summer blockbusters, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was pretty much the biggest star on the planet at this point, Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Yeah, based on the Philip K. Dick short story novella, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, We Can Remember It For You Wholesale. But anyway... The thing that I wanted to get was, like, with a budget between 50 and 65 million, Total Recall was one of the most expensive films made at the time of its release.
That's pretty expensive for 1990.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Why was the budget so... I mean, I know they had all the, like, the special effects and...
Well, they had he had to take his head off and have it split.
It's a surprise.
Remember all that crazy shit? So, all right, so, Total Recall was...
Great.
It was great.
I loved it.
I didn't love it at the time. I felt like at the time it was kind of cheesy.
Well, it is. I don't think anybody would deny that it's not cheesy.
Yeah, and you know it's cheesy because it's Paul, what's his name? Verhoeven, the guy who makes all the cheesy movies.
Yeah.
Starship Troopers, Basic Instinct, Robocop,
yeah, he has that.
Showgirls.
And like I think people were okay with it. Like I was okay with it being. That was part of the charm of it, that it was so cheesy.
I loved the idea. I loved the concept. I loved this idea that your memories could be not what you think they are. Mm-hmm. Your memories could be implanted. They could be changed. You could go in and there's this idea that you could pay to go live someone else's memories. Like you could take a vacation in someone else's memories. But it turns out that technology that you think is really interesting and fun could totally F you over. It's kind of like there's a big Black Mirror aspect to it. Not surprising given the source material. In retrospect, I wish that Total Recall would have taken the subject matter a little more seriously.
Well, I guess it's
Yeah,
also...
what's the Quatu?
Quaid!
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's him. Yeah, I call it Quaid.
But wasn't the thing was Quatu? Is
Yeah.
that what it was? Yeah, the beast.
Mutant.
Sorry.
I think it was a product of its time, and that's why it seemed so cheesy. And then it was also the 90s, where our vision of the future in the 90s was just really bad.
Yeah, I kind of feel like our vision of the future was more... I wasn't going to say more better, but I feel like I want to now. It was more accurate. It was more accurate in like the late 70s, early 80s with movies like Blade Runner and films like that where really the future is not a lot different than it is now. It's just there's different technology.
Right.
Because I feel like things don't actually... a lot of times, a lot of movies, they try and depict the future and they show people in outlandish clothes
and the cars are always the cars. It's always with the cars always driving around, like Demolition Man, Total Recall. It's always like this weird idea of the style of a car.
They're gonna have like weird shit on them and stuff like that.
They don't change that. No, it's not gonna happen.
You know what? The only thing that like cars these days look exactly like cars did 30, 40 years ago, except melted a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's got rounded off a little bit.
That's it. And clothes end up being like these weird ass bodysuits with like oddball color. Like that works with we were talking about it off camera before. What's
Fifth Element?
It works in the Fifth Element because it's meant to be a fantasy.
Right.
But movies that are trying to actually depict the near or like mid-distant future, they go for this outlandish stuff, and I'm sorry, that's not what...
No, if you were going to follow it at all, you would... Fashion constantly goes back to things 20, 30 years. So if anything, pick something from like, if it's supposed to be the whatever future, go back 30 years and pick something from the 50s or 60s and then make it a little bit twisted.
All right, so Total Recall... Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is pretty much like the peak of his powers, right? This was before Terminator 2, but after, like, Conan the Barbarian and Terminator, the original Terminator. So this is 1990, so right around here. Oh, Kindergarten Cop. Twins in 88.
Ah, Twins.
Twins in 88. The Running Man was 87. Then it was Total Recall this year. Kindergarten Cop this year. Terminator 2 was the year after. Huge. Last Action Hero in 93. That's when he fell off. True Lies was 94.
True Lies was huge, though.
Was it good? It had to be.
Yeah, it was good.
Was it? Mm-hmm. Never saw it.
I worked at the theater at the time.
Wasn't what's her name? Wasn't it famous because she like stripped in it or something like that?
Yeah, but it was a joke. Like she's like screwing up.
Right. It's meant to be
tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Total Recall. I feel like I'm not going to say it's a lost classic. It's a cheesy '80s movie that came out in 1990. Yeah, all good stuff. Phil K. Dick, really great. Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc., etc. Show something. Transition segment. Bye. Hey, Tig, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
We're back.
Rolling.
Keep those doggies rolling. June of 1990 actually had a wealth of pretty amazing movies. Did you see Robocop at a young age?
No. I saw it I saw it a couple years after. I didn't see it in the movie theater or anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that just to laugh at, kind of.
It's retrospectively considered, a lot of people think it's this masterpiece of satire.
I don't know if I would say masterpiece.
That is now the the retrospective opinion. I'm not saying I agree with it.
Right.
I think it's ridiculous because my recollection of RoboCop is this is absurd.
But I guess that's why, because it is so absurd. Everybody has their own opinion on movies. It's like music,
right?
Yeah, RoboCop 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? I never saw RoboCop 2. Never saw it. I did see Dick Tracy, though.
Did you?
Also came out June 1990. You definitely saw Dick Tracy.
See, my memories of Dick Tracy was way overblown.
Well, because it was Madonna and what was it? What was it? No, now we're going to have to look at Al Pacino.
No.
Al Pacino, yeah. Oh, they were both... Yeah, I was right. Dustin Hoffman's in it. And
Warren Beatty,
Al Pacino, yeah.
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty, yeah. Warren Beatty's the main dude, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were trying to think of who else? Okay.
Yeah. Actually, look at that.
Right.
List. Paul Sorvino was in that.
But
Dick Van Dyke was in it.
Dick Van Dyke. Because that movie did not do as good as they thought it was going to.
I feel like at the time it was a flop.
I just remember them even having toys at like McDonald's or Burger King or something.
Oh,
like, it was huge.
yeah, totally.
But not caring at all as a kid about going to see it. I didn't even know who Dick Tracy was.
Who cared to see? No one cared to see it. Dick Tracy at one time was huge.
Right, but when? In the 50s and 60s?
Oh, yeah, like when our parents were kids, even before that.
So why did they... You know, like when movies do that, they glob onto somebody... Like when they made Rocky and Bullwinkle in like the 80s or 90s.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you making Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Well, no, that's how I kind of felt about Dick Tracy. It was like...
Yeah, like,
and even at the time, I understood, like, well, I know sort of what Dick Tracy is, and I guess that this is a thing, but we don't care about it now.
No.
You know what? The Dick Tracy movie wasn't bad. It was just... But you have to take it for what it was. It was an adaptation of...
A comic strip, right?
Yeah. And it was good, like, and they had goofy stuff like Al Pacino in wild makeup with, like, big crazy nose and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why they thought this was going to be a big blockbuster.
Yeah, Warren Beatty directed it. So I'm going to go ahead and guess if Warren Beatty directed it and he starred in it, that he was a big Dick Tracy fan.
Wasn't he, maybe I'm wrong about this, wasn't he like secretly dating Madonna at this point or something?
Probably. It seemed like one of those movies that got made because someone like him was like, yeah, we're going to make a Dick Tracy movie. That's a great one.
Yeah.
And it just spun into this thing where like his friends all got into it and producers were like, well, if he's going to put some money up, then we'll put some money up. I mean...
Certainly is not another movie in existence that has Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, and Dustin Hoffman in it. That does not exist.
Right, it's that lineup you would think instant success.
No.
Nobody's watching Dick Tracy right now. And if they are, they're stoned and laughing at it.
Probably, yeah. And then one of the other blockbusters that came out this month, other than the one we're going to talk about in the final segment, was Days of Thunder. Yeah, I know. I kind of agree.
I have one memory of Days of Thunder. I went to the movie theater. We didn't know what to watch, and there was Days of Thunder and the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones or some Jetsons movie, and we were like debating on what we should go see, and we were like, well, I guess we'll see Days of Thunder, and we went and sat, and when we sat down, we realized it was there was a sneak preview of Ghost, so we ended up just seeing Ghost. They played Ghost before Days of Thunder.
The
whole movie.
Wait.
Yes, I vividly remember this.
I would actually be kind of pissed off about that.
Yeah, we were pissed.
Because I'd be like, I only paid for 2 hours of my life.
This was, they were like, oh, there's a sneak, though, of this movie, Ghost, before it. And we were like, what do you mean? Sneak? Okay, so you get to see a little bit of it. So I saw the entire Ghost movie.
Oh, man. Which is good, by the way.
Yeah, it was actually good. I liked it at the time. And then we were like, we're not going to sit and watch Days of Thunder. We ended up sitting in it for like 10 minutes. I remember like the accident in the beginning or something like that. And then we went across and snuck into the Jetsons movie.
So you watched the Jetsons instead of Days of Thunder.
So that's my only memory of Days of Thunder is not watching Days of Thunder.
I kind of feel like Days of Thunder, right? Wasn't it just Top Gun and cars? Hey, let's take the guy from Top Gun and stick him in a car.
Race car.
But at the time, though, Tom Cruise was like the up-and-coming star.
Right.
Because if you look at his filmography, read it out here.
First one was Outsiders or something.
Well, yeah, Taps, and then The Outsiders.
Which is very small role. He was barely in it. Yeah,
small part. His breakout role was Risky Business in '83. And then All the Right Moves also in '83. Legend in '85, which was a small thing, right? Like, Risky Business got him noticed, but he wasn't big yet. Top Gun '86, then it was big. Him and Val Kilmer. The Color of Money in '86.
Ah, The Color of Money, yeah.
Cocktail. You're thinking of Cocktail in '88. Rain Man in '88 made a big.
That was a big deal.
Rain Man was a big deal.
Still, that was a good movie.
Yeah, with Dustin Hoffman, we were just talking about him. And then after Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, that was Cruise like saying, I want an Oscar, please, please give me an Oscar, please, in '89. And then Days of Thunder. But then even after that, he did good, well, sort of good stuff. Far and Away was in '92, whatever. But
I liked Far and Away. I liked the movie. I don't particularly remember him most.
Terrible accent.
Yeah.
What do you remember Far and Away other than Nicole
Kidman?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just the whole thing about it. I think just because historically, I like historical pieces, and I know it's...
Speaking of historical pieces, I'm going to remind you of something that you completely forgot about. We started writing a screenplay together a few years ago. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, all right. So now I just reminded you. We can't talk about it because we will eventually finish it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it because I think it's a good idea.
No, it's a great idea. I bring it up because I've recently gone back and poked at it.
Checked at it.
Yeah. I think we have a really killer idea, and we just have to finish it. So after that, after Far and Away in 92, he also did A Few Good Men in 92.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, one of these days we got to talk about Rob Reiner. Did we do that one day?
I could talk about Rob Reiner all day.
And then The Firm in 93, whatever. Interview with Vampire in 94, he was trying to be, look, I'm an actor again. Brad Pitt was in that, remember that?
And Christian Slater.
Was Christian Slater in that?
He's like the interviewer.
Oh, that's right. And a young who? Who was the young one? Was it Kirsten Dunst or no?
Yeah.
Young Kirsten Dunst.
Tom Cruise is one of those actors who, everybody wants to hate him.
I want to, but I can't.
That's the thing, because he's not hateable.
Xenu and all that shit. No,
and his movies are 90% of the time. His movies are actually entertaining. So.
No, even when they're just cheesy action movies, they're effing good action movies.
Yep,
they really are. Like Tom Cruise is, you know what?
He makes good.
He's the real deal. He really is.
Yeah, you gotta give him. You might, there's probably tons of actors who, if you knew them, you wouldn't like personally, and they're good actors. So he's just in that realm of, I might not want to go hang out with him, but his movies entertain me.
So we'll be back.
What?
The what is that? We're back.
I just like to see the.
You like the pulses of the wave file there?
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So, June 1990, this movie that I feel like is it's kind of a underrated, overlooked, underappreciated classic of shtick.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a cult classic now. Maybe not. I mean, maybe not yet, not culty, but
not a cult classic yet, but it should be and will be. I mean, I feel like Gremlins 2, the new batch.
From what I remember, it had nothing to do. There was nobody really tied to it from... Well, Billy and Phoebe Cates are in it, but...
Yeah. Did not see it in the theaters. I didn't.
No.
I saw it on home video. Yeah, I feel like this is the case with a lot of movies in this era. I don't know if it's just because my family and the age I was coming into or whatever, but I didn't see a lot of movies in the theater around this time.
Yeah, me neither. Now, this was... I think because it was the height of... There was HBO,
right?
And then people just were getting their... For us, it was often VHS bootleg stuff.
Yeah. All right, exactly.
I remember when that would come on, and it was like...
Yeah. Oh, the camera sweeping over the neighborhood. Have you watched that recently? I watched that just a month or so ago.
on YouTube.
It's super amazing. It's still amazing.
Like from out the family's house window down the street.
Yeah.
And then it goes flying up into the sky.
And I'm sorry for you podcast listeners. We have to remind ourselves that we're doing dual roles here. We're talking about the intro for HBO.
A movie coming on or an original program.
And they had this incredible introduction with miniatures and this camera sweeping through a neighborhood. And
it's amazing music.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and yeah. I mean, the music is just burned into your soul. But Gremlins 2, I remember distinctly, but did not see it in the theater. But I totally remember distinctly because they're in the skyscraper. Wasn't there there's a TV station in there?
Yeah, there's like a lab, but there's also a TV station. They escape, and then it's just like
because they put it in a skyscraper for that
so
reason.
There's all these different.
They could just do anything. Yeah.
There's even that weird scene with Phoebe Cates that makes fun of her horrible Christmas story with her dad breaking his neck.
Yeah, that's right.
And in the second one, they do it, and Billy's just basically telling her to shut up or something.
Yeah. Because the first movie was it was kind of fun and sometimes funny, but serious. Gremlins
it was a horror movie.
Gremlins 2 was like a satire. It was purely funny. It was just a goofy, funny movie.
It was funny to watch because of the fact that it was like the silly version of the Gremlins.
Yeah.
Like even though they were like Christmas caroling in the first one and all the silly stuff they did, it was very brief, like you said, and it was actually scary. It was supposed to be a horror.
Right.
But yeah, the second one was such a with the female gremlin and
Well, the first Gremlins was kind of horror, but like a sort of Spielberg horror, like,
Right, yeah.
like it was like a family okay horror.
there was like the professor because he gave himself a shot
Yeah,
and he actually speaks and he's intelligent.
but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know the last time you saw it. I watched it a couple of years ago, and it was still a lot of fun.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember watching it all the time when it came out.
Yeah,
When it was on HBO or we had VHS, like we watched it all the time.
yeah, definitely. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
Right after these messages.
The next show will start in 8 minutes.
Oh, good sound, good sound, good sound. Terrible way to start a new segment.
Wow.
You're making fart sounds.
That's
I'm pouring a beer, but good enough. So for all y'all listening or watching on YouTube, both are great. Thank you. And if you're one of our Patreon subscribers, that's even better because it means you get bonus content. I kind of don't want to talk about it. I'm kind of sick of talking about it.
We're on Nerd Out With Me all over. Google it. Just Google Nerd Out With Me.
Nerd Out With Me. It's all the different places.
It's all over the place.
various
It's all up inside Eric and insides.
Oh, it's in all the different places. So check us out. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.